There we are. Welcome, welcome. Town Hall meeting number 31, January 24th. We've got quite a nice group today. We've got Roger Caboti, we've got Grandano, we've got Eric S, we've got Felix, we've got Flyerfools, Haley, Harry Hellier, Julian Collins, Sucre and Spice, and Tivo Sex. Thanks all for joining. I made a pretty basic agenda. It's becoming a bit of a silly one, but yeah, first want to go over the work groups and then over the tasks, and then there's a bit of an open mic, open topics round. Let's start off with the work groups. Let's see, we had a Process Guild session this morning, but the actual Process Guild weekly meeting will be happening after this one. So you're in the right space already. At 19 UTC, we'll have that session. Tifa, should we cover what we did this morning now already, or in a bit when going over the tasks, perhaps?
No idea. So if we announce something, there is a new T-Workspace, so there are two translations, like spaces in D-Work, and one of them is SingularityNet Translators version 2, and where if you are not yet a translator, you can sign up there and apply yourself. Then you go through the process of having a great discussion, what you're allowed to do, why you do that, and then you get to sign up yourself to translate work, and that process is much more streamlined compared to other, and we support you all the way through. But you can also kind of train yourself to project manage your own translation tasks, and in the end, who knows where it evolves. So it's a more scalable solution, hopefully. We'll see that. So it's something we basically started up, and this means we also Process Guild is more free to now take another task or a project to map out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what happens after this current meeting. So yeah, do stick around for that if you're interested. Then on the Treasury Guild, I think it can be relatively straightforward. It's a bi-weekly meeting and it's happening this week. So this Thursday at 16 UTC. And for now, I think we can suffice with simply, yeah, if there's people that have input into the agenda for that meeting, that's very welcome. There's a Treasury Guild channel on the ambassador section, so don't hesitate and please post there. Then the next one would be the podcast work group. Yesterday we did not, correct me if I'm wrong, Julian, we didn't talk directly. Maybe somebody else joined in?
No, I was there for a while, but nobody showed up. So after like 40 minutes, I just left. But I was keeping an eye out. You know, nobody showed up yesterday.
Okay, you did quite a bit of progress from what I got it. Would you mind sharing a bit?
I've posted up my proposal so you guys can take a look up in Sway. It's kind of a work in progress just to see what the response is and kind of go from there. So yeah, I mean, it's there for collaboration and feedback. So please do go if you can and give me some feedback. Been kind of interesting trying to figure out exactly how to do it all, because it's just an interesting project I think it's somewhat unique as far as what's happened in the first couple of rounds. I don't think anything quite like it has been proposed, so that's kind of, interesting trying to figure out how to do that. And a lot of these proposals are milestone based and things like that. And I know Jan had stepped in there and said something about putting some sort of like actual views or like comments that I'm gathering and stuff like that as to whether or not I would be getting milestone rewards. And my comment to that was just like, I get that and that makes a lot of sense, but it's just not like right now this is something that I would be taking away from doing my other jobs, and I can't rely on, you know, that sort of thing. That are, you know, out of your control. What you do, you can't get the amount of user or comments, and that's just not something that I'm comfortable, you know, putting, you know, my life and my bills and my payments that I have to make on a regular basis on the line to do. If it comes to that, I just would rather not even bother. So I don't know, but that's not necessarily that it has to be that way. But that was the comment that I've gotten so far. But I left it open to say, you know, maybe there's somewhere in the middle we can meet here. You know, the way I looked at that was like maybe if there was a proposal that gets, if the proposal, for example, if we figure something out that gets approved, you could look like it would make more sense to me to have those views and those comments and that sort of thing looked at as a kind of whatever they call, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like a post-op or whatever, basically looking back in regards to whether or not it would make sense to do like another continuing round. Like if we were to go into round 3, then I could see looking back and say, hey, you know, look at all this progress, or hey, look at this was not really that successful. Then that would make a lot of sense then as far as saying, okay, this makes sense or this doesn't make sense to continue. Because that's the other part of it is like, you know, at some point, if I'm doing this stuff, I'd like to be able to be self-sufficient with it and figure out a way to make money without having to ask for anything. I mean, I never was asking for anything before. I didn't really expect it to happen like this. So, but if, you know, I go through a period where I get funding, the goal would be to become self-sufficient at some point. But until then, I have to, if I'm going to be devoting this time, then I have to have some sort of money coming in. That's just the way it is for me right now. So it's you're looking at a potential like continuing project and a continuing deep round, you know, project. So I just don't know if that's something, you know, that people want. I'm not sure. It's just been very confusing. You know, like it's kind of been tumultuous with payouts just so far. As much as I appreciate the help that's been coming in, it's just been very sporadic, and like kind of my life has kind of been a little bit hectic and just all over the place because I just really haven't been able to tell when anything was actually going to come to me at any given time from anywhere that I've been getting this help from. And so with all due respect, it's just been very stressful for me and my family. And I don't know. I'm kind of at a crossroads of like, what does this even make sense? Because like, you know, like I said, I have a family and stuff, and it's frustrating for everyone to not know like when anything is going to actually come in, and when, you know, like there's just not a consistency to this yet. And I know that that's kind of like part of what this is all about, and I'm okay with that more, I think, than a lot of people. But it's just when you have a whole family, and, you know, like my wife is like much less risk averse, or she's more risk averse, I should say. And it's trying to convince, you know, people that this is a good idea, and, you know, trying to keep, you know, making sure that I have what I need to have when I need to have it. It's just been difficult. So I'm kind of at a turning point here where I'm trying to think, like, what do I really, I don't know. I feel like I'm just not quite sure what to do, and I'm open-minded, and I want to, you know, communicate that and be as open as possible as kind of, you know, it's vulnerable. I'm obviously being vulnerable, but I just feel like that's the only way to do it. Yeah. So that's basically where I'm at. And I put the proposal together just because I felt like, hey, I've been working on this. I should probably just put something up and see. So like I said, I'm open. I'm, here to talk and try to figure something out. I'm open-minded and I'm optimistic. So that's basically where I am as far as all that. You guys can take a look at that Sway proposal. If you can, give me some feedback. And honestly, whatever it is, it's totally fine. Like, I don't need any one thing to happen. Like, I'm happy, regardless. And, like I said, I never expected anything from any of this coming in. Like, in what's happened, it's just been all kind of a bonus for me. So if the proposal doesn't get accepted, like, if whatever, it makes you feel, just let me know, and it's not going to hurt my feelings. Like, I'm going to still, like, I still love SingularityNet, and I'm going to follow everything regardless of what happens. So just know that. And as far as like this week's videos, or like this video's coming out this week, I did a couple interviews, and I have Kennedy Shaw that I just put up. She's the new CEO of Reju Biotech, and they're doing some really interesting work with the Methuselah flies. And they've been studying these flies for decades, and they've basically evolutionarily like selected them by the oldest female flies that were breeding the latest, and then selected those flies, and then only chose to breed those flies going forward into the following concurrent generations over and over again for decades now. And it's gone in through like a couple of different, it started off in a lab in California, and now she's had her own company for a long time. She's been working with Ben, and they've got these flies to where like the average life is like 40 days for a fly. And now they're at the point where some of these flies are living for like 225 days. So they're like 10xing these flies' lives. And there's gene sequencing them and trying to isolate what the genes are that are responsible for this, and then using AI to basically to do that. And it's like super exciting work, and she's just the best. She's a really nice lady. And that's been up for, since yesterday on my time. Obviously, we're all over the world, but that's up. And then I have Marcello Mari of Singularity DAO, the enigmatic CEO of Singularity DAO. We got a chance to speak a bit. He had just come back from the World Economic Forum in Davos with some interesting stories from that, and we got into some community questions and just kind of broke down some of the more basic terms so that people, if you don't really understand a lot of the terminology, I made sure we went over some of that just to so people know that, because that's something I noticed when I first was coming into this. And it's not it's totally normal that people would forget, but people coming in new.
Hey Julian, I really don't want to be rude, but for me it's a bit too much information.
Yeah. Okay. Does everyone else agree with that, or?
I can't speak for everybody. I think, well, since you mentioned the proposal and the interview with Kennedy and now with Marcello, that would be getting close to covering everything.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally like moments away from ending that, so I was already getting there. But yeah, obviously don't want to over speak. It's just, kind of keep people involved and get people excited about what's happening. So, but yeah, that's basically it, I guess, for now. So yeah, look for that Marcello interview coming up, and the other one that's already there. And I'll be having more as soon as I can get people on, and other videos that I come up with. So keep an eye out.
Thanks a lot. And there was also in chat a request to if you could link to the deep funding proposal in the ambassador event chat. so then people can actually have a look and provide some feedback.
Sure. Yep, I can do that.
Awesome, thank you. Then let's see, the next work group would be social media / marketing group. The next meeting for that will be on this Friday on 13 UTC. Crandano, any updates from your side?
Yep. My microphone working? Okay, cool. I was having problems earlier. Yep. Hey everyone. Yeah, a few updates here. Had a discussion with Fly You Fools this past Thursday afternoon. We ideated on Marketing Guild and came up with a document that can be found in the Marketing Guild channel. We basically played with various percentages based on the current allotment Marketing Guild receives from the Ambassador Program funds, and went over how various parts in the guild could utilize those funds. In the meeting on Friday, we discussed the potential for roles. These roles could be paid out monthly and iterated on over time. An example role could be someone managing certain socials like video platforms, YouTube and TikTok, or perhaps the person managing Twitter, posting tweets, liking and retweeting, interacting on Twitter, could also deal with publishing articles on an Ambassador Substack. We discussed how to go about rewarding people for articles, which requires further discussion. We'd like to reward people for quality of content and for people that write multiple articles for the Ambassador Program. For instance, we ideated on having tier levels for articles based on the amount of words. Then discussed the cons of going about rewards in this manner, because we want people to have quality when it comes to their content rather than quantity. And just fluffing articles to meet a higher tier would be a problem. So this requires further discussion. We then discussed Twitter. There's been work on Twitter to create posts about deep funding last week, and meeting times this week, which will continue moving forward. The Twitter group is knocking out low-hanging fruit, such as liking and retweeting posts within the ecosystem. We talked about either an article competition or a task for up to around 5 people to create an article going over research on various other projects' DAOs. This could be over their structure, how they operate, and any ambassador-like programs. Overall, there's a lot of open gaps for individuals interested in content creation, and we could use your help. So if you're interested, please join the discussion within the Marketing Guild. We meet every Friday at 13 UTC.
Thank you. Awesome. And looking forward to that meeting. It was a really good one last week. I think it will also indirectly feed into the Process Guild meeting later, because there was some discussions on roles and like roles versus tasks, and yeah, that's spot on territory for the Process Guild. All right, then I'll move this slide. Yeah, just a quick update on the task side of things. I did one transaction on 2 old tasks, which I got the content submitted through DM instead of D-work. So yeah, once that got cleared up, I sent the tokens for that. That's updated on the sheet. Then on the translation side of things, I added 5 blog posts. Basically you can see on D-work, not gonna list them all out, but yeah, there's 5 more blog posts in 5 languages, so 25 translation tasks. I did see quite a lot of people already applying, and since multiple people were applying for multiple translations at the same time, I figured it would be best to basically only assign the task to somebody if there's not already a task in progress. So yeah, just to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to participate, I figured it would make most sense to simply await the submitted work. before assigning the next one. And well, as Tifo mentioned, the process of the translations is now properly mapped out. That took some time over the past months, but it's resolved right now, so that's pretty good. And there's actually a related issue. We decided for the tasks on dwork to set the bounty in USDC, so we can also advertise it on the general dwork page, not just related to the ambassador program, but for getting bigger reach. We figured it would be good to add the bounty in USDC. In case of translations, this turned to $20 to be then at the moment of distribution to be converted into AGIX tokens. There's, however, an issue that popped up there when the first person tried to submit work. Turns out you cannot do this unless you connect your wallet. And yeah, seeing we're working with Cardano native assets in the ambassador program and not with Ethereum wallets, there's not too much use, and I can understand if people are not too enthusiastic about mapping their Ethereum wallet to Discord, or to dwork specifically. So this is something we still need to figure out. I imagine in Swarms, as they're using the same process, there's been some solution for this, but this only popped up a bit earlier before the meeting, so right now there's no fix there yet.
Yeah, to me, I just see that once person is assigned, then you can remove that dollar, because then you don't need it in the market anyway. It's already accepted work. It does add an overhead to the person, but for translator side, then we just add a new message that prepare your translator in Google Doc, but for submission, wait a day.
Well, there's manual work involved by approving somebody, so at that point I can also edit the task, I guess, to remove the mention of the USDC. Yeah, that it sounds like a short-term fix for sure. Is that also the way it's being done in Swarm?
I have no clue. I have done it. I have seen people posting. I do remove these remarks before we move to the audited.
Reuse the USD rewards really just for, let's say, like when you are fishing. How is it called, the thing which you throw in the water actually? So people say, cool, because then with the USD tag you see it on the whole dwork. But like shown last time, right? Then we have to directly the info slides on the task itself, which invites people to create Cardano wallet, and then we feed it in our own treasury and accounting system and track everything there via Discord then as well. And we do it better at dwork, so we have our own system, which could make that happen. So you just remove it then.
You wanted to add something, Flyphones?
It was more of a satirical comment that it's called baiting.
Baiting? Nice. Community baiting.
Okay. I
to be honest,
working.
But actually dwork has a ADA integration, but it's via Binance Smart Chain, which sucks pretty much, because you don't want to use Binance for your bounty stuff actually.
No, agreed. That doesn't solve anything. But good to know.
Exactly. Why is something like Binance Smart Chain even there? I mean, this is fucking...
Yeah, well, fees are low. I mean,
for me it works because I have Binance account and
okay, so for now, short term, I think at the approval of a task, I will also remove the bounty then from it. It does need some kind of Right now, that's the only place where this is mentioned. So it would need something in the task description, just for clarity that there is a specific amount to be awarded. But that's, a one-time fix. Okay, and then it's like what you mentioned on the what's it called? These warnings about and instructions on creating a Cardano wallet. These are also included in the tasks already, so that's good.
Okay. I throw you a link over where you see one of them. Always when we look for stuff, it always takes forever. This sucks. Where is it? Well, I find it later, Pete. Shoot your link.
Yeah, it's all good. But you mean for these specific instructions? Because we have that.
Ah, cool. Yeah. Then why should I look?
We borrowed it, let's say.
Nice.
Then let's see. Oh yeah, just a small note for being able to apply to these tasks. That's also a result of the mapping out the translation process. It's mandatory to have the Discord role for being a translator. And this can be earned by completing the onboarding, which there's also a task on the DWork board where you can apply to for onboarding. I did add all the people who so far. It's in chat. Cool. I did add all the people who translated before already I gave them the role, so that's good to go. But for new people, we will require a small onboarding process. Just wanted to point that out. Then there's a question in chat by Crandano. For the podcast funds from Ambassador Program, is there an outline how the funds are utilized? Is the 7,500 AJX allotment currently utilized totally per month, or is there funds left over? So this is split between a 5k allocation for Julian for leading the group and a 2.5k allocation, which is more flexible, which can be utilized for either creating tasks or issuing artwork like it has been used for. So yeah, that's the current situation. Honestly, on current balance, I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe it's helpful to I think Crandano is thinking of it in terms of the marketing, how we allocate hours and things like that. If there's perhaps some kind of stencil, some workable stencil that's already used in SingularityNet that we can bring over to Marketing Guild, maybe.
Well, from the podcast work group, not specifically, because so far a lot of the meetings have been me and Julian, so there was not so much an actual work group going on there. So I don't think there's a dedicated playbook or anything you can follow for that. Yeah.
Is there one anywhere else in the SingularityNet ecosystem? Maybe, maybe we could reach out to other projects in the SingularityNet to see what they're doing. Or, well, I guess also we need to just hash out figures and numbers. There wasn't really a question there.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking if there's anything comparable internally. I don't really think so. Yeah, so that would be something either for the Yeah, it overlaps a bit between Treasury Guild and Marketing Guild meeting. And I think it would make sense to cover this at least for like, you know, something like 10 minutes during the Treasury meeting, because right now this is an issue for the Marketing Guild, but for the next guild or work group to be created, the issue would be similar. So it's something we simply have to figure out structurally, I guess. All right. Then Curtis or Pure Relativity asks, and I think Tivo is typing the answer potentially already. Yes, on the if you do see the onboarding for translation, but you're wondering if there's a general ambassador onboarding process. Right now, this is not in place. It's simply joining in on D-work and being part of these meetings. It is something that needs to be figured out for the, in my mind, the coming quarter-ish. At the end of the quarter, I would for sure have this process more properly formalized, let's say.
Are we hinting for governance school again?
Yeah. Yeah, what can I say? We can have a governance group, sure.
Too early. Let's get to the first Treasury Guild meeting first.
Yeah. All right. Then I think that's. Yeah, I do have a couple of small shoutouts I want to make. One being a community governance event that's currently ongoing about the loyalty rewards pool of the Phase 2 tokens. I'll take 30 seconds explaining or giving a bit of context. Basically, for the first year, it's already defined how these tokens are allocated. It's by being part of the hard fork snapshot. And since the tokens get emitted over 91 years in total, it might not be optimal to stick to that forever and ever. So the Phase 2 plan included a mention of like, after year 1, there's going to be a community governance event where allocation of this pool can be decided. And that's exactly where we're at. So as you can see in the schedule on the ideation portal is open right now. We're using the same ideation portal as deep funding is. So it's on sway.io. And I'll link it in a bit in the chat. And coming Thursday, is that correct? Yes. Coming Thursday at 15 UTC. Let me triple check that just to be sure. There's going to be 15 UTC. There's going to be an open meeting discussing the current proposals on the portal. There's like 5 or 6 right now, and definitely room for more. So if you have any ideas on how to reward loyal token holders, it's quite significant. It's about 5% of the Phase 2 tokens, of a total of 50 million AGIX. So it's quite substantial. Yeah, if you're interested in discussing these type of topics, please do join coming Thursday and check out the ideation portal. And the Mindplex magazine is actually live. A bit earlier today we had a Twitter space basically launching, and yeah, the magazine is live. So anybody who wants to can simply check out the magazine, and you can get an account, have tons of discussions on pretty cool futuristic tech stuff. It's sometimes quite out there topic-wise, but in a good way. And yeah, with this being live, there's also there's a lot of room for community contributions. So if you're a writer or interested in testing the waters becoming a writer, you can submit content to the magazine to then be published on the community content section. And yeah, yay, it's finally live. And I do think that covers. Yes, it does. Yeah, from my side, that's the topics I wanted to cover. But there's definitely room for open input. So if anybody has any ideas or thoughts to share, then please do.
I have a general question. Just all those calendar items that you just listed, is there a RSS feed or some kind of calendar invite where I can add all of them to my calendar?
Short answer, no. Yeah, this has come up a couple of times already. We should definitely get something in place for all the events where community input is possible, including the ambassador meetings over the whole week, but also these kind of governance events. It's simply not in place right now.
Could we set that up in a task in D-Work?
Absolutely. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good way to go. Do you have any recommendations, Curtis?
Maybe just like set up a Google calendar, and then you can actually create an invite where they can add that Google calendar to their personal Google calendar, and it will list all those events. It's just like a free, easy option.
Nice. Well, some of the work.
Calendar is possible. Wait, sorry. Go ahead, Grandano.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, a lot of the work group meetings just changed their time, so something I was gonna do on the SingularityNet Gmail is add the meetings, but you're right, there should be like all the various governance stuff and things going on, and SingularityNet also needs to be dealt with.
Well, one of the upcoming things in 15 minutes in process could be that we schedule our meetings. We put that into the Google Calendar. If you figure that out, we might as well put these dates and actions on Google Calendar. So once we figure the method out, we just spread our manpower in meeting, and everybody just picks a date and thing to record on calendar.
Well, I think that the work of actually adding it to a calendar is pretty straightforward, I feel. Like it's not tons and tons of events. Or maybe I'm misjudging that.
I might add some Singularity Swarm stuff there now.
I mean, this is something we can hash out in the marketing workshop on Thursday, if required.
Yeah, it can be. I guess first step would simply be, like, we have this Gmail account, right? So that comes with a calendar. So if we distribute access to it, should be simple.
We can do it in 30 minutes. We start doing it, and then we kind of end in 50 minutes, and we have a nice thing to share. And only task after that is for marketing to check it out and see how it would be nicer, I guess, and what is missing.
That sounds great.
Agree.
All right. Anybody, any other questions or remarks?
Topic we didn't touch on last week. Because Pete, you know, it was 2-3 weeks ago in governance experts thing. We touched on a topic that ambassadors maybe might be a really cool environment to ask for some engagement when it comes to SingularityNet website and content creation there and whatnot. And we had a short discussion about it in the Discord channel already. So idea yet would be to define a first set, maybe? Something, action items which we could directly propose to the ambassadors here. As well, in regard to, for example, what is needed exactly. For example, review on the website. Can there be some content creation, infographics or whatnot?
Well, there's two things I feel that in our overlapping a bit, because if I'm correct, this originated from deep funding side, also a site. Basically, that we discussed this also with Jan, I think last week during Process Guild. Basically, there the conclusion for now was first we need to have some stuff implemented on the website, and that might take another, well, now not 3 to 4 weeks, but 2 to 3 weeks. And yeah, Jan is very open into shaping that into a role, kind of. Yeah, like a role for which then a potential ambassador can pick up and execute over the weeks. You would estimate at the beginning it would be like 2 or 3 hours a week, and then, well, depending on how much content is being generated, which then also needs to be updated on the website, it could increase. So that's one thing. Yeah, on the SingularityNet website itself, I'm not too sure what exactly that referred to.
Remember, he gave a pitch of the website and also what wants to be included, for example, also from the proposers and whatnot. And when he went through the drafts, there have been some feedback already, and maybe this could be else. This maybe change this or whatnot. Something like a backlog, for example, for site improvement suggestions or whatnot. I think it went a little bit into this direction. But it came out to say, cool, yeah. If you want to have some improvements there, reaching out to the ambassadors might be a good idea.
Yeah, fair. But wait, this was in context of the deep funding website, I think, right? Or
I'm not sure. No. It was the general SingularityNet website, I think, because he said there might be some improvements and whatnot, something like this. Or was it deep fund? Oh my fucking god! Too many sites. Yeah, that's so many sites.
On that level, I do know both the publisher and the developer portal on the SingularityNet website are in for a overhaul, a redo. So from a user experience point of view, there's definitely room for input, that's for sure. I'm not sure if we discussed this, to be honest. But generally speaking, yes, feedback on the website, and especially if it's like structured and constructive, that's very much welcome, and I wouldn't mind creating a task for that. Yeah. And related to that, might also be quite some room for SEO improvements, which would, in my mind at least, be like a separate or more focused topic, let's say. So I'm not sure if there's, perhaps there's some SEO specialists in the ambassador program, wouldn't surprise me. But that's not me. But I can make a bit like an open-ended task for that, perhaps.
That sounds good, and if it's not picked up by the ambassadors or like by someone, for instance, we know, then perhaps that's a nice pilot for opening it up to others on DWork.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll think about that for a second, but that should be very doable. Awesome. Well, one more attempt. Anything to add to this meeting? Anyway, because now is your chance. All right, then I think we're wrapping right here. Thanks a lot for joining, everybody. Nice group today, and thanks for all the input. And for those interested, do stick around for the Process Guild meeting in 8 more minutes. I think there will be a Zoom link popping up in the Process Guild channel. Is that correct, Evil?
Yeah, I hacked myself into the Zoom account by joining a meeting and using passcode because Zoom buttons and quick links do not work for me. And I already opened the call up, so take a breather or join now. I will be there to invite you in.
Awesome. All right, then once again, thank you all for joining and hope to see you in the next meeting or otherwise on Discord.